Welcome to Money Convos, where we discuss personal finance and investment tips. We're committed to helping people create wealth and achieve financial freedom. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Alright then, let's head into today's conversation.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm gonna get started today soon. Today we're having a conversation about fear. When fear leads to bad decisions. I see some people in the audience. Please feel free to join us. Today's conversation can also be interactive. I would read some information in the case study, describe certain scenarios, and I'm curious to hear what people think about it. We can learn from each other what's the best approach to take in these situations. Basically, what would you do if you were in this situation? And how would you prevent yourself from being in this situation in the first place? So feel free to come up, join in the conversation, and let's share some thoughts. Let's learn some lessons. Okay, all right. So I get started then. So today, for full disclosure, did something different with how I set up, how we set up this case study. We usually draw on our experiences and real life situations that have come up to draw up a case study for you. But this time we did something interesting. We did it differently. We used generative AI. We used a combination of ChatGPT and Bard to come up with these case studies. And so some of them may be more geared towards developed markets, but we try to tailor it to the Ghanaian context. So I hope you can still relate to it. And yeah, we just thought, you know what, the world is moving forward. We've had an episode in the past about using artificial intelligence to increase our income. I encourage you to go listen to it. So why not do it in our own work as we help people become more financially literate? So all the stories you would be hearing today are courtesy of Bard for starters, and then maybe we'll get to the one from ChatGPT. Okay, great. So I'll get started with this. Just drop a reaction to make sure that, for me to make sure that you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, the first case is about John. Now, John is 35 years old. He's a software engineer. He earns 7,000 cedis a month, and he has debt of 80,000 cedis. He is afraid of losing his job. Let's remember, today's case study is about fear and the kind of bad decisions that can lead us to. So his fear is losing his job. So let's take a look at some of the bad money decisions he's made. John invested his entire emergency fund in a risky stock that he didn't fully understand. He was afraid that he would lose his job and would not be able to afford his mortgage. So he thought he needed to make a quick buck. However, the stock lost value and John lost all of his money. Now we are talking about stocks, that's investments in companies as a shareholder in a company. It just gets me thinking about men's gold. How some people got themselves into men's gold. This is an interesting parallel that you can draw. Replace stock with men's gold, and yeah, you'd see that some people would want to get rich out of this. Okay, so in this case, I'm like, John, why put all your money into this emergency fund? All your emergency fund into this one single stock? Like buying stocks is already risky, right? And you are afraid, so sometimes people fear draws people to make rash decisions. You know what? I just want to blow. This will be the last one. This will be just one that, I just one and done, and then I'll be set for life. I don't have to worry again. Just make that one big move. I'll be surprised if some friends of John were telling him, Charlie, this investment, if you make it, you blow. Everyone is doing it. FOMO, everyone is doing it. You don't want to be left out. Fear of missing out. So, John, let's just go and do it. You get the money, you get your money back. This is a sure banker. Everyone is investing in this. I remember when Fan Milk was going up about 2 years ago. The stock had lost about 90% of value in the preceding 2-3 years, and it was coming back up, and people were just so excited about it. Imagine this is what happened. So Yeah, he wants to make a quick buck and he puts all his eggs in one basket. And this is an emergency fund. This is money that if he loses his job, he's going to be falling on. So that's a problem. All right. Another decision that fear drove John to make. John maxed out his credit cards to pay for a new car. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to get approved for a loan if he lost his job. So he wanted to buy a car while he still could. However, now he's stuck with high interest debts that he can't afford to repay. I know, in Ghana, credit cards are not so big a deal. Not many people have credit cards. So you may be wondering, how do you relate? But think about it. Somebody has a nice job, maybe concerned that, look, he needs to buy a car to, whether it's out of necessity or for vibes, so to get the swag of owning a car. And he's thinking, I could get an auto loan from my company or from a bank. They don't care about how much money I'm earning or whatever. As long as I have a job, they'll give me the money to buy the car. And he goes to do this, and now he's stuck paying high interest debts. Fear that if he loses his job, he don't have that status, and this opportunity has come. So someone would say, well, this loan opportunity has come right now. Which other banks are giving you loans to take? Why don't you just do this? Yeah, the interest is high, but at least you get your car. So you'll be crying, but your tears will hit the soft leather of a Mercedes Benz. That's the car he got, right? But now, because he didn't, he acted out of fear, and rather than thinking through this decision well, he's ended up with a bad loan. And imagine if the situation just gets worse and his car gets spoiled, and now he has to fix the car. Ooh, he's gonna be in trouble. Okay, now it's not done for John. It's not done. There's one more situation at hand for John, and we realized that John stopped contributing to his retirement savings. He was afraid that he would need the money to pay for living expenses if he lost his job. So he thought he should save it instead of investing it. However, now he is behind on his retirement savings and will have to work longer to make up for it. Oh, John, you had a nice thing going on for you. I'm listening to this case about John, and it happens with people every now and then. Things are going well, and then maybe one event will just come and knock them off their feet, and they make a series of bad decisions, and they just can't get back up. This time, he's gotten himself into so deep a situation that he fears that if he loses his job, he won't have enough money to live on. So he has gone to he's reduced his contribution. In fact, he's actually stopped his contribution towards retirement. After all, the future can take care of itself, right? And now all the money is now trying to go to rebuild that emergency fund that he depleted to buy that stock. Yeah, he may be suiting himself in the short term, but in the long run, he's going to be affecting himself. He's going to end up with less money than he needs to survive in retirement. He's going to have to rely on relatives. He's just going to be a burden on society. That would not be a happy life for him to live. But hey, that's what fear drove him to do, a series of bad decisions driven by fear. Feel free to raise your hand and join in on the conversation to share your thoughts. What would you do if you were in this situation? But yeah, moving on, I would like to talk next about the lessons we've learned from John's situation. No, we realized that fear clouded John's judgment and led him to make bad decisions. He's now working. Now he's realized the error of the wrong in his ways, and he's now working to overcome his fear and make more informed financial decisions. He has started to rebuild his emergency fund and is paying down his auto loan debt and credit card debt, and he has resumed contributing to his retirement savings. It's going to be a long journey ahead of him, but at least he's putting in the effort. So now we would ask ourselves this question: how do we overcome this kind of fear-driven money decisions? How do we avoid getting into this place? Or if we are there, how do we manage ourselves so that we don't make bad or even worse decisions? I think the first thing you need to do is subscribe to Money Convos. Of course, there's that. Well, the first one is talk to a financial advisor. Talk to somebody who has professional education in affairs of money. And you want a financial advisor or someone in such a capacity because they are not going to be just selling an investment to you. No. You'd be surprised about the number of people who are at banks as relationship managers who don't know much about personal finance. What they know is how to sell the product, but they may not even understand all the terms and conditions, how it will affect your individual life. So you want someone who thinks more holistically about you as a person, how much this decision would affect you. Think about other aspects of your life. The financial advisor can help you create a plan that meets your goals and your needs. It can help you make decisions based on logic and reason rather than just fear and emotions. And for that, I'd say yes. Follow Money Convos. Listen to us. Go wherever you listen to podcasts. Go search for Money Convos on YouTube. Go search for Money Convos. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Drop a like. All that good stuff. So that whenever we come up with new episodes, you hear. Then, when you get on Instagram, follow at investment_friend. There you'd see Mimi and Sarah providing a lot of content, interactive challenges, activities, all surrounding how you can improve the quality of your financial life. And there too, you could sign up for financial coaching, where you could get people to, or you get professionals to assess your individual perspective. You know, your financial situation is different from that of your brother, that of your sister, different from your friend. You may be earning different amounts of money. You may have different hopes and desires. You may want to buy different types of clothes. You may want to eat at different types of places. You know, so you need to put all that into perspective. So you need someone whose interest is your interest, not someone just trying to sell you a product. So I strongly encourage that you go look up Investment Friend. That's at investment_friend on Instagram. Okay, so get basically seek some professional help, somebody who is educated on the topic of money. All right. Then next, educate yourself. As you talk to those who are educated, you also need to educate yourself. The more you know about money, the less likely you are going to make bad decisions based on fear. This is part of why, me and Mimi and Co founded and have stuck with Money Convos, because we feel like all through our education, people haven't been taught about money. We all use it, so we all think we understand what money is. We all know it. You don't need a degree to be able to use money. You don't need a degree for you to have money in your hand. You would need a degree for you to do an operation on somebody, but you don't need a degree to have money in your hand. So it feels like we don't need any training. But money it's the whole system that you need to understand, especially when there's psychology to be there's the psychology of money involved. People think money is a lot of numbers, but you realize that especially on the personal level, it's more about psychology than just numbers and formulas. It's really about how you interact with money, your relationship with money. So you need to know these things and educate yourself. You can read books, you can follow Money Convos, listen to all our podcasts. You can be listening weekly. And in fact, go back in the archives. Our producer, Dennis, has been doing a bang on job of making sure that we are delivering consistently. So go do that and you would get your information. We've done some book reviews in the time past. A book you can start with is Psychology of Money. In fact, that may be a heavy lift. What I would encourage you to start off on a light note is The Richest Man in Babylon. And that book, the totality of that book, it just tries to encourage people to put aside 10% of their income, whatever they make, 10%, whatever you make, just 10%, put it away into the future, right? That's something that would help you. So start with that book, a very easy read. You could read it within a few days, all right? Then another book you could also consider is a bit heavier to read, but it'll take your time, read it. I love audiobooks, so you could go check on YouTube for these books. Just listen to it as you are doing other stuff. Psychology of Money. That book would help you understand your emotions, how you react to certain things. All right. And so that's a way to educate yourself. To find out our other book recommendations, just go through our podcast and you'd see that. In fact, I think I should make a note and make an article about our recommended books to share that. So just stay tuned on our social media and we will post our book recommendations for you. Okay. Next way that you could help to make sure that fear is not affecting you is you need to take action. When you are walking towards a particular destination, at least you have some certainty that you are heading there. When you don't know, then you are confused, you are afraid, you don't know what the outcome will be. So, as you're going through all these things, you're talking to financial advisors, educating yourself, make a plan. Whatever plan it is, just make a plan. Plans always change, but the process of making the plan alone is good enough for you to think through some of these things. Now, as you think through these things, you would look at all angles. What are the pros and cons? What are the risks? And you're aware of it. It's like planning a journey to Kumasi. If you just sit in your car and just start driving without checking the GPS or without finding out which roads you should take, you go all over the place. But when you plan it out, okay, maybe from where I am, I should probably hit the N1, or I should get to Insawam, I should do this, I should do that. The weather will be like this, so I should pack a raincoat. I should plan to stop at Lindador to get some food or use the restroom. You have a good sense of what's going on. So when you do that, you are sure that you will get to your destination safe and sound. But when you don't know and I want to get to Kumasi, so you just walk out of your house and just start walking, chances are you won't reach there today. That's if you reach there alive at all, or if you reach there with all your belongings and your body parts together. That's a concern that you would have when you don't know. But you need to change, you need to move from an I don't know state to I know, I have a plan and I'm actively working on it. And once you have these plans and you are actively taking steps towards them, rest assured you are in a much better position. You are in a much better place to achieve those goals that you have, and everything will be fine. This is not wishful thinking, but really, its results will come out of this. All right, great. A few more solutions to help you conquer fear when fear that affects your money decisions. Do your research before making any financial decision. If you want to do an investment in an institution, do some research about it. If a friend wants you to invest somewhere, find out. If you want to buy goods from a company or from Instagram or some products, do some research. What are the reviews? Can you trust those reviews? Have an idea. Don't just go with the first thing that comes to mind. All right. And don't be afraid to ask for help. People are willing to help you. Especially in the finance sector, when we talk about advisors, we are supposed to keep quiet about these things. There was a time when a friend of mine had lost his father. I knew he had lost his father. I found out pretty soon. I was at the funeral. But now he was talking about accounts that the father had opened for him and his sister. And I was like, interesting. Okay, come back with the documentation. Like I know the situation. I know it was going on. I know there's money somewhere. But by law, I can't say anything to my friend. Follow the due process. See, it's the same discretion that we will keep when people ask for advice. We're not going to be telling, Abna came to tell me this. Oh, you people, you don't know what's going on with Abna. So many things are going wrong in her life. Nah, it doesn't work like that. So don't be afraid to ask for help. People are willing to offer that help. And if you have to pay a token for that advice, it's worth its weight in gold. Really, it will save you a lot of distress and a lot of uncomfortable situations. So I strongly encourage you to seek out advice when you can. Okay, then a few more things I would say in terms of taking action. Have an emergency fund. Just be contributing to that emergency fund. We keep saying this on Money Convos because it's important. If something happens to you right now, you lose your job or you fall sick and you can't work, do you have enough money to sustain you for 3 to 6 months? If no, my brother, my sister, the money that you are saving for Christmas, wait, it's not that worth it. Save that money towards your emergency fund. Motivate yourself to work harder, get a side gig for the money for Christmas. But your emergency fund comes first. We've had a conversation in the past about the intangible benefits of being financially independent. And some of these things came up. When you know you have money in the bank, you walk around freely. You feel okay. You don't feel stressed out. You know that you can handle anything that will come at you. There was a time in some years ago when I was like, you know what? I the way my work was going, I don't know if like things will happen, that these seasons come and go. And I was just pissed off and all that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep build an emergency fund. And I built an emergency fund of extreme. I don't encourage everyone to do it, but an emergency fund of 18 months worth of emergency fund. And yeah, when I put that money in a different institution far away, I didn't have to call on. And lo and behold, 2 years later, was it? Oh, actually, then the next year, I had an emergency. Nearly died, had to have surgery. I didn't call any family meeting to come and pay for bills. My mother was asking me, "Oh, do you need money for this?" I was like, "Oh, don't worry. Some family friends sent money. They didn't even ask. They sent money. God bless their soul. That's great. But I'm not going to beg and ask anyone because I had sacrificed, put that money aside, and it feels good as you are doing these things. So please, there will be those intangible benefits as you go along. You will benefit from doing this financially. You benefit when if things happen. Like we behave like risk doesn't happen, but all the time people are losing their jobs. People are having accidents. People can't work. Like so things happen. So let's save ourselves from any bad situations by being prepared for them. So yeah, in summary on this case, I would say we need to overcome the fear that drives our bad money decisions. It's not easy. It's not easy, but know that it's possible. Yeah. If you follow these tips that we mentioned, it can help. You'll be more informed to make rational decisions. And also, in fact, my point that we didn't mention is having friends who have similar goals. And you can find such friends here on Money Convos. If you are tuning into Money Convos and you keep seeing certain people in the audience, yep, what does that tell you? These are like-minded people. Maybe you could be accountability partners, to just check on each other. Hey, what's it that you said you were doing? Are you doing it? Or how is budgeting going on for you? I encourage you, slide into someone's DM for financial accountability purposes, please. Not for any other reason. Not to say that, oh, fine girl, fine boy, slide into your DM because Money Convo said we should do that. Nah, nah, nah. That's not what I'm talking about, please. Anyway, all right. So moving along, I just pause here if anyone wants to insert anything or any comments on this case before we move on to the second case. And while I'm transitioning, just to remind you, do follow us here on Twitter or X. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you listen to podcasts so that you can get all the repeat conversations. Follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube. We are there. Just search for Money Convos. And while you're on Instagram, follow at investment_friend. Very interactive content, exciting content there that's geared towards your personal financial situation. Okay, great. Let's move on to case two. All right, we're going to take two cases in this conversation. Also, a situation where somebody made decisions that drove her into trouble out of fear. And I feel like the first one, maybe not a lot of people could relate, but this one, people can relate. Some people may be able to relate. Let's see if anyone would relate to this. So, Jane, story about Jane. Jane is a 35-year-old single mother of two children. She works as a waitress and earns 1,500 cedis per month after tax. She's afraid of losing her job, so she saves every penny she can. She also has a fear of debt. She avoids taking out loans or using credit cards. Does this ring a bell for anyone? She's afraid of losing her job, so she saves every penny she can. Okay, so let's see what bad decisions has fear driven her to. One, she refused to invest her money. Jane was afraid of losing her money in the stock market or any investment house, especially with all that's going on in Ghana. So she's kept all of her savings in a savings account. That means her money was not growing. And because of inflation, she's actually losing money. And when we talk about inflation, inflation is the general increase in the cost of goods and services. So you go and buy one ball of kinky, or some years ago, you were buying a ball of kinky for 1 cedi. Now, that ball of kinky is 2 cedis. Same size, same ingredients, same seller, but the price has gone up. Why? Because generally, the cost of things have gone up. That's inflation. Now, if you have that same, or if you have, let's say, 10 cedis, and Some years ago, one ball of kinky was one CD. You were buying 10 balls. But now it's gone up to two CDs. Now you can afford only five balls of kinky. So what does that tell you? As costs are growing, you need to find a way to let your 10 CDs also grow so that it can grow from 10 CDs to 20 CDs so that you can still keep buying 10 balls of kinky. That's what we are talking about here. Because she didn't invest her money, she wasn't making enough returns on it. She was just keeping it in a savings account. The investment, the interest that you'll be paying on it is what somebody would say, touch. It's very small, you see. And with that, she will be losing her money because she can only buy fewer and fewer and fewer things with that same amount of money. That's one of the things that fear has driven her to. She doesn't want to invest her money because she's afraid to lose it. Okay, great. Second, she paid off her mortgage early. Or yeah, let's assume, she was at a time where she could afford a mortgage. I know that SNITS and or the government of Ghana is working through certain institutions. I think GCB is one. Was it Stampic and NIB or so? But I definitely know GCB is one where they are offering mortgages to government workers. So if you are not making a lot of income, you are working with the government, you could get some of these loans. So yeah, a lot of Ghanaians don't like debt. Don't like debt. So yeah, she's in a hurry to pay it off quickly. So how she was able to pay it off quickly, she made larger payments every month. And that means she had less money available to save for other things. What does that mean? She's going to be tight. Her budget is always going to be tight. The money she was earning wasn't much in the first place. But now she's making extra payments towards her mortgage to pay it off fast. She's barely going to have any money left for something else. Change her car? Maybe not. Go on a nice vacation? Forget about it. Any emergency that comes up, she's going to be really tight. She's going to be living a very worried life. I'm sure some of you know people like this. They're always anxious about money because they've boxed themselves into certain situations. Maybe they've started breaking ground on their house and they are buying cement every week, every month, paycheck cement. They are buying cement. It's good. I'm saying it's good. But what you need to know is that you need to do it in a sustainable way. Maybe somebody went to take a payday loan to fund the roofing of their house because they needed it. Now that's so expensive, and that's in such a short time. They have to put up huge amounts of money every month. You get me? So in that case, you have a problem. Your budget will be too tight for you to handle. Imagine the quality of life. This person always go to work frustrated and angry. Wow, I just don't want to be in that situation. Okay, let's see. And then lastly, she turned down a promotion at work. Now, this one, I actually know someone who turned down a promotion at work some time back. It's for similar reasons. Let's hear her reason. She was afraid of taking on more responsibility. So she turned down a promotion that would have paid her more. This means she was stuck in a low paying job and she had less money to support her family. So, we've been building up the story about Jane, building up the story, not making a low income, saving as much as possible. And in fact, as most of her money goes down to pay even more towards her mortgage than she needs to. And now promotion came up at work and she doesn't want to take it because she doesn't want the added responsibility. Maybe she's thinking, I can't afford a babysitter. No one will be there to take care of my children. So if I'm having to work longer hours, who's going to take care of my children? No, I don't want to do that. That's possibly what she's thinking about. She's thinking, okay, my weekends are that I used to do this or that are going to be taken away. I'm going to have too much responsibility. I'm going to have to deal with so much politics in the office, in the workplace, and all of that. I'm sure some of us can relate to these things. Of course, generally speaking, anyone will say, "Oh, I don't want a promotion. It's too much work." It sounds absurd. You think about the money, but people genuinely turn down promotions every now and then, and these are her reasons. So fear is driving her to make these decisions. I'm curious. What do you think about these? Anything relatable? Anyone you know like this? And then let's get to what you would do if this situation happened. Adam, are you there?
Yeah, hello, Elikem. I'm here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So
I
did
don't struggle with the internet.
oh, okay. Okay. So did you hear me lay out the whole story about Jane?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think there are a number of James in our lives. So I can relate on that level of knowing people like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Some
Can you
fear.
describe any parallel situations that you know of?
Oh, fear has this tendency of making, or let's say people wanting to remain in their comfort zone in a certain sense. That is also mostly driven by fear because, like you gave the example, somebody could actually reject a promotion based on the fact that they are very much afraid of what might happen in the sense that, like you said, they have more responsibility. Maybe it's going to take them away from family. It's going to get them into a place where there's a whole lot of, especially where there's a whole lot of politics and messy kind of relationships at the higher level. Some people are afraid of those kinds of things. Hey, somebody might kill me. They might put something in my feet. I know of some of those situations. So
You know, yeah, people start
I
tricking
know.
you. Hmm.
Yeah, so I just want to remain in my corner, just where to go. At least I'm not begging anybody for food or something, that kind of thing. So it's real. It's there and it happens to people.
I feel
And
you. I feel
some
you.
people also consider more than just money in taking decisions. So we can definitely relate with that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. All right. Great. So I guess it's a relatable situation. Let's see what we can do about this. Or let's look at the consequences of these decisions that she's made, and then we talk about how she can overcome it. So right now, she's struggling to make ends meet. Her income is not enough to cover expenses. She's living paycheck to paycheck. She's stressed, she's anxious about money, she's constantly worried about losing her job and not being able to afford her bills. She's barely even being able to save for retirement. In fact, she can't because everything is going towards emergencies and emergency funds and paying down the mortgage. So nothing is left for retirement. And she's at risk of being financially insecure in her old age. Mimi keeps telling us the statistics about retirees in Ghana, the amount of money that Smith pays out to retirees. And I hope Jane, for in her situation, is with an employer who pays her Smith and who pays even tier two. At least there will be some money coming in because at this rate, there's no private funding on her side to try to secure her retirement. So that one, yeah, Charlie. Jane needs to really think through these decisions. So what can she do to overcome her fear of money? No, some of these things are parallel to what we discussed in John's case, right? She needs to learn about money and investing. She needs to understand how financial markets work and how to invest her money safely, how to assess risks, how to know whether to trust an investment or not. You don't just say blanket, okay, all investments are bad, so I don't do anything. Maybe an investment is not only going to put the money in the bank, maybe try to invest in a friend's business that you trust. Maybe just it's really investment really is about putting your money somewhere that the money can grow. The money will be working for you. The money will go towards a profitable venture so that some will come back to you. Your money will come back to you with its friends to add on to it. So she needs to understand these things. Then she needs to face her fear of debt. She needs to realize that debt is not always a bad thing and that it can be used to her advantage. Debt is not always a bad thing. I'll use myself as an example. It's like you get an opportunity to go to school abroad. Everyone will love a scholarship. Yay, great. But if I tell you that you have to take on $200,000 in student loans so that you get a job that would pay you, um, let's see, equivalent to another $200,000 a year. But you have the loan, heavy loan, but every year you'll be making so much money. Is this an opportunity you will take or not? Or you just say, well, if I don't get scholarship to take it for free, I won't do it. No, it doesn't work like that. You see, you have to take that opportunity. Otherwise, you'll still be in whatever bad situation you are in and be wondering why you're not growing. That's educational opportunities. That's one. Business. Can your business take a loan to secure a new machine that would help you increase your speed and secure more customers. Maybe you are into printing. You get a new machine now. Now, instead of just 10 customers a day, you can do 20 customers a day because you have the volume. You can support all that volume. Yeah, take the loan. Make sure it's sustainable. It shouldn't be, paying it off shouldn't be too much of a burden. Like if you have to pay 1,000 cedis a month to pay off that loan, is this something you can afford to do it? Yes, your cash flows are such that you have an extra 3,000 every month. Yes, you can dedicate 1,000 towards getting that machine because that'll help you increase your revenues. So you always have to assess these things. What do you stand to benefit? Even if it's a home mortgage or an auto or even auto loan, you live so far, transportation is bad, or maybe it's unsafe. Should you get an auto loan at a good rate? Yes, so that you can afford to get to work on time and pursue the career that you want so that you can grow. It'll be something you should consider. Or you want to buy a home. You can't wait to build a house over 10 years by buying one cement block at a month. That's going to take you a lot of time. Why don't you take a mortgage so that you can afford to move into your house now? All that money that you are paying towards rent, that just vanishes. You pay the rent, it's gone. You can use it to build your equity. You can use it to build your ownership in your own home. You see, you build that ownership, you'll be paying off the bank, you pay off their interest plus your principal. Every month, you increase the share of your own home that you own. But with rent, you pay the rent and none of the money goes to your landlord. Of course, hey, I'm generalizing. I'm generalizing at this point. To make these financial decisions, you need to talk to a financial advisor. Make sure that the numbers work out in your favor. But debt is not always bad. Okay, it's not always bad. So you just need to reorient your mindset to these things. Also, you need to take risks. And as I'm saying this, I'm looking at Mimi in the audience. Wink, wink. I think, was it 2 years ago, early last year? I think it was beginning of 2022 when Mimi was like, you know what, this year she's gonna take risks. So she even encouraged us to have a conversation about cryptocurrencies. Go back to our podcast and you see that conversation early 2022. We had a lot of conversations about riskier investments. We talked about real estate. We talked about cryptocurrencies. We talked about a whole lot of other things, right? You need to get to the point where you would take risks. Life is risky. You have to take that risk. You need to step outside of your comfort zone, take some risk with your money. And it could mean investing in your own business. It could mean investing in your education. Invest in your education so that you can have the qualifications necessary to apply for a managerial role or a higher paying job, or to get you invest in your education so that you learn a trade, a skill that you can get access to certain customers that you normally wouldn't have had. Those are some kind of investments that we are talking about. I was just sharing with someone recently. Was it Mimi or Edem or somebody else? And I was saying that most of the years I've been working for 7 years, and all up until that time, most of my investments have just been investments in mutual funds, equities, and most importantly in myself, in my career, with the hope that it will pay off. God willing, it is paying off. That's intellectual investments that you make every time, paying for some professional exams. Yeah, it seems like a lot of money. Yeah, they are charged in foreign currency, and our city is dancing to the drum that foreigners are beating. Yes, it's true, but those kind of investments, they would pay off over time. So do invest in that. Okay. If Prince were here, he would tell you about all the programs that he's been doing in the insurance sector and how it's paying off for him. You'd feel secure in the job that you have. These are investments that you need to take the risks. Yes, it means you won't sleep early every day. Yes, you have to spend an extra hour or two studying. There's no guarantee that, because you have that degree, you get a job. No, but there's an assurance that if you don't get that degree, you won't get that job. So which one do you choose, right? So yeah, again, overcoming fear is not easy. It's not easy. Taking risks is not easy. It's difficult. These are tough decisions, but you get people who can support you through this. Friends, like-minded people, join organizations, follow Money Convos, follow Investment Friend on Instagram. These are places that you can get the encouragement that you want. Talk to financial advisors, people who can consider your situation and help you make the right decision. So yeah, just a quick recap about the suggestions that we made earlier as we start to wrap it up. Talk to a financial advisor, educate yourself about money, and with that point, I would say read The Richest Man in Babylon. I love audiobooks. You can listen on YouTube. Just search for The Richest Man in Babylon. Very simple story about how you can grow wealth. And when you build that muscle and you want something more complicated, The Psychology of Money. It's a bigger book, but it's totally worth it. Then take action. You need to come up with a plan, draw up a plan, and just start taking those steps, and you would get there. All right. Do your research before making decisions. Don't be afraid to talk to people who would help you, especially the professionals, and start saving for retirement early. Start. A lot of people I'm seeing in the audience, all young people, let's start now. You have 30 plus years more to work. Start now. You'd be surprised at what that would do for you. Okay, yeah. So there, that's my an assessment of these two case studies we've had today. Adam, any thoughts that you'd like to share before we wrap it up?
Yeah, Elikem, I think you have basically nailed almost everything, and I would just say that we should just kind of break out of our fears and our comfort zone. As I'm saying this, too, I'm saying something to myself. So we should aspire. With what happened in the investment industry, it shook me, but low key, I've been doing like, as if all is well. But I mean, it really shook my feet. But we are surging on strongly, because if you have spent years trying to put money aside for things and all of that, and then all of a sudden one morning you wake up, you can't access your funds for more than months and things, and they are taking haircuts and things. It can be very disheartening, but we move forward nonetheless, because the fact that, like for example, accidents happen every day on the road, but doesn't mean that we would stay in our homes trying to avoid having an accident. I don't think that is the answer. So we still would have to move, but we'll be more careful and we'll be more alert on the road to be able to ensure that we do our part to avoid whatever it is that might befall us if we are slacking on the road. So same principle as we move along our lives and we are investing and all of that. Things might come and happen, but the good thing, like you said, if we should start now, for most of us, we have about 30 years or more to be able to get certain things in place before we hit retirement. So I believe that as we go along even though things might be tough, we can take stock. I think some of these tough times are times to take stock and rebalance patience and our portfolios and our directions and all of that, and then search and move forward from there. So that would be my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam. I like that analogy you gave. And that said that accidents happen on the roads every day, but does that mean you won't leave our house? That's a good punchline to end on. So yeah, on this fine Sunday that you guys have shared your valuable time with us, I appreciate it, and I want to leave you with those parting words from Adam. Let's come together, fight our fears. Let's hang on to people who have positive, who give us positive energy, who help us be more productive. And as we go into this week, let's face our fears. Let's take deliberate steps. Let's start educating ourselves. Remember, The Richest Man in Babylon is a good place to start. All right. So yeah, leave you with that, and we will catch you same time next week, 8 p.m. on Sunday. I wish you all the best. Have a great week. Be productive. Make some money. And start saving towards Christmas. Christmas is coming. Start saving towards it so that you don't go and blow money you don't have. All right. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Good week. Bye.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.